Good afternoon, everyone. This is Jared Rand, and welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for Saturday, December 3rd, 2022, a little after 3 p.m. Eastern. Give love and deeply eternal loving acceptance to those you encounter and notice what happens. Wayne Dyer. You got to admit that this life is an outrageous adventure. Sometimes it's so radical that we may have difficulty accepting the people, the situations, and experiences we're having. This resistance or non-acceptance to this life makes everything more challenging. I've found one enlightening way to instantly transform out of this old pattern by simply repeating the message, all is welcome here. Just notice what happens inside your body when you say this to yourself. You can see how the body naturally opens up and your mind becomes more aware and grateful for what is already present in your life. It is time to drop the struggling and embrace what already exists in our lives. You ever notice that we all have a tendency to keep constantly jumping forward, in this life? We're always looking into the future, sometimes reflecting the past, but in the moment is where everything is. Our very innermost being is connected to something so vast and so immense that it has the capacity to welcome everything that arises. Whether our ego likes it or not, acceptance can be discovered. Just give it a whirl. Stretch and welcome everything in this world, including negative thoughts, sensations, or ideas. Welcome it all. Acknowledge that it is all part of the Grand Master Plan. As we sit with all that exists in this life, we naturally discover how magnificent life truly is. We begin to unwind and let go of holding on to the way this universe should be. When we start letting go of control, the tension may increase or release. And this is the moment to keep acknowledging that all is welcome here. This divine universe knows much more than we do and is far beyond the ego's opinions. A deep peace will enter your mind-body with this welcoming approach to life and make the world a more peaceful place to live. The greatest gift that we can give to others is the gift of deep eternal love and acceptance. Brian Tracy. Welcoming whatever shows up in each moment is our highway to heaven. Welcoming whatever shows up in each moment is our highway to heaven. It is our way home to keep experiences of everlasting love and peace, deep experiences of everlasting love and peace. The interesting thing is that nothing in our lives has to change for us to feel a deep peace and love inside. Our mind doesn't have to figure something out or get into action to try to solve all of our problems. Just let go and welcome what already is present. These set of circumstances that we may dislike in our lives are our teachers that are guiding us home to reconnect with our authentic, godlike selves. What if it's more powerful for us to learn how to let go of being right all the time and use that time to explore deeper sensations of peace, joy, and understanding? We do not need to change anything in our outer world to experience deep feelings of peace and love. All of the beautiful feelings of bliss and peace that we have been striving for are here now because they are our true nature. They naturally arise from the depth of our being when we start to welcome what is. It is only the endless struggle of the ego mind that has shielded us from feeling our divine, peaceful, blissful nature. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. St. Francis of Assisi. Have you noticed that when your ego mind does not like a specific circumstance in your life, it starts to yell and scream like a small, helpless child? The mind wants to get its own way, and when it doesn't experience what it wants, it goes into a full-fledged temper tantrum, like a small 2-year-old in a panic. Fighting with what you don't like about your life only creates struggle and suffering. It does not solve anything or make a solution better for the ego. This is just an old game that you learned when you were young. Whenever our ego wants to fight and struggle, just watch this tendency arise inside of you. Don't try to stop it. Just watch it. Don't judge it. Soon the energy of fighting and trying to change things will dissipate on its own. You don't have to do anything. Staying centered simply comes from being the observer. It's like you are watching a movie. You don't have to go along with the drama. You can watch and sit back. Once the fighting and the inner struggle subside, you naturally feel different about what is happening and can see the bigger picture. No one is useless in this world who lightens the burdens of another. Charles Dickens. No one is useless in this world who lightens the burdens of another. By becoming a welcome-aholic, you become a deep, eternal, loving energy to this world. Your true nature is one of acceptance and deep welcoming. And so we naturally do this easily and effortlessly. We all want to become more natural in the flow of this life and live easily. The struggle instantly dissolves when the mind lets go. As you choose to welcome each experience, you'll find this organic and natural acceptance of what is arising inside of you. There is no need to manufacture this. Welcoming is natural. It is what is in every moment of existence. The grass is welcoming the rain, the sun, and the wind. It is open to the energy field and allows life to penetrate it to the core. This is one of the greatest gifts we can give ourselves and this world. Another fabulous byproduct of welcoming is that we can fully step into our inherent abilities to consciously manifest our desires. The energy of welcoming softens our mind-body's energy field, creating more expansiveness and receptivity. The more you can welcome what is occurring in each new moment, the more this universe supports you in receiving whatever you naturally want to experience. It's so good to know that manifesting your desires is much easier and simpler than you can imagine. This welcoming approach to each life experience naturally makes manifesting effortless. All it takes is welcoming what is here now. We go on this journey. We in a way, we choose it in a way. We aren't aware of certain things, of course. We come into a new body and we don't have memory, so we kind of wing it. And think about that for a moment. All of us, few exceptions, remember a past life. But all of us. So we're an empty vessel, and then we're programmed by society. Society which was created by us. Isn't that ironic? To these thoughts, from the point where you're in mama's womb, all the way until you come out, and you crawl, and you walk, and you run. All of these thoughts from everyone around you are what design your personality, character, everything. Now imagine that. Just for a moment, realize that all of those thoughts come from other thoughts of 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 other thoughts, on and on and on. So what one believes is impressed upon you because you're an empty, innocent vessel. You're not filled up yet. Then you begin to understand why the society of this planet is so lopsided, so miscombobulated, so unsettled. You see, we have all these perspectives, right? Where do we get the perspective? From other people's thoughts. So it's quite challenging, isn't it? Because we don't know who and what we are. Now, we're told, right? Told by mom and dad, and we're told by brothers, sisters, and siblings, and all kinds of people and strangers and happenings and interactions. But we start out not knowing who and what we are. And we go through this life, and we don't discover who and what we are. And then we have to leave the body. Then we start over again. Imagine what would happen when, say, 2 parents, right? Or 4 parents, or 10 parents, or 20 parents, or how many ever that the child is exposed to. You have the original parents, and you have other parents, and you maybe have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 men, and you've got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 women, and they're all interacting with the child. But there's one common thread. You begin to teach the child in the beginning who and what that child is. And remember, it's empty vessel. We all start out as empty vessels. So what you pour into that child is paramount. And you see how the social structure and the society of this planet has kept us from discovering any of that. Religious beliefs. Man-made religious beliefs, right? External authority telling us who and what we are, what we're supposed to be doing, who we're supposed to be praying to. And have you ever noticed all of it's external? See, that's the dilemma of humanity, of mankind. That is the dilemma. Those of us who become consciously aware, right? And then we decide to go within, and then we begin to discover who and what we exactly are. Then we're able to pass that on to the young ones. They're filled with this knowing. Then in turn, as they begin to pursue, not so much pursue, but go within, go within, go within, and as they continue to advance with that understanding, and as it grows, then they convey it to the next young ones. Now, say you have a 9-year-old, right? And you'd like to convey to that 9-year-old in a soft way, ask them, do they know who and what they are? They won't know. They will say, my name is Timmy. That's who I am. Instead of saying to you, of course, I am the God within this body. But it's a discovery for all of us. It's a self-discovery. There's no race. There's no, like, okay, you get a gold star and you get a bronze star, you get a silver star because this one over here got further than you did over here. It has nothing to do with that. That's all ego mind. So we all have this opportunity. To welcome everything. It's a decision, it's a choice for any of us, right? Little challenging when you've got all kinds of things humming and buzzing and chirping and popping all around you. But you can, if you decide to, or when you decide to. Some of you may have read or understand the way, the Tao, which Lao Tzu wrote. And the story goes, Lao Tzu, being in his 80s, has prepared to leave the body. So he's going to leave the town, go out into the wilderness, and leave the body. Not suicide, just leave the body. So he's walking, comes to the gate guardsman of the town, and the guardsman says, Lao Tzu, would you be so kind as to leave with us your knowledge? Lao Tzu thought a minute, and he said, okay. So he wrote the way, the Tao, to leave with the townspeople, to learn. Now, of course, through the years, it's been shifted and twisted here and there, and the secret of the Tao hidden, fragmented. No discipline, no enlightenment, no going up through the grades, and yet in possession of all honors in itself. This is called the way. And remember, Buddha means enlightened one. If you surrender the ego, if you surrender yourself, you come into a harmony with the law, and everything starts happening on its own. If you surrender to yourself, you surrender to the ego, you come into a harmony with the law, and everything starts happening on its own. You have only to surrender. If you are ready to disappear, you will be full of the law, and the law will take care. Have you watched it? When you trust the river, you can float. The moment you lose the trust, you start drowning. When you trust, the river takes you in her hands. If you become afraid, you start drowning. That's why dead bodies start floating on the surface of the river, because dead bodies cannot doubt. Dead bodies cannot be afraid. Alive, the same people went down into the river and drowned. When dead, they surface. They start floating on the surface. Now it's very difficult for the river to down them. No river has been able to down a dead body up to now. Alive, what happens? The dead man must know some secret. The secret is that he cannot doubt. Most of us have heard the beautiful parable in Jesus' life that his disciples are crossing the Lake of Galilee, and he is left behind, and he says, I'll be coming soon. I have to say my prayers. And the disciples were very much puzzled. He was coming and walking on the lake. They are afraid and frightened and scared. They think it must be some evil force. How can he walk on the water? One disciple says, Master, is it really you? Jesus says, yes. Then the disciple says, then if you can walk, why can't I? Your disciple. And so Jesus said, you can also walk. Come. And the disciple comes, and he walks a few steps, and he's surprised that he is walking. But then doubt arises. He says, what is happening? This is unbelievable. The moment he thinks, this is unbelievable, am I in a dream or some trick of the devil, what is happening? He starts drowning. And Jesus says, you of little faith, why did you doubt? You have walked a few steps, and you know that it has happened, then you doubt. Now, whether this story happened in this way or not is not the point. But I also know that you can try. If you trust the river, just relax in the river. You will float. Then the doubt will arise. The same doubt that came to Jesus' disciple. What is happening? How is this possible? I'm not drowning. And immediately, you will start drowning. This is what happens to a lot of us in this life. At first, have you ever done that? At first, you're good. You're good to go. And then things start occurring or happening that you, in your entire life to date, would have never believed. Right? How many times you said it's got to be a trick? There's no way that that's real. It's got to be some kind of trick. Now, the difference between a swimmer and a non-swimmer really isn't much. The swimmer has learned how to trust. The non-swimmer has not yet learned how to trust. Both are the same. When the non-swimmer falls into the river, what happens? Any of you can't swim? Or what happens when the non-swimmer, right, has not yet learned how to trust? So when the non-swimmer falls into the river, doubt arises. He starts feeling afraid. The river is going to drown him. And of course, then the river drowns him. But he is drowning himself in his own doubt. The river is not doing anything. The swimmer knows the river, the ways of the river. And he's been with the river many times, and he trusts. He simply floats. He is not afraid. Life is exactly the same. When the non-swimmer falls into the river, doubt arises. He starts feeling afraid. The river is going to drown him. And of course, then the river drowns him. But he is drowning himself in his own doubt. The river is not doing anything. The swimmer knows the river, ways of the river. He's been with the river many times. He trusts. He simply floats. He is not afraid. Life is exactly the same. It's our choice, see? It's not circumstances. It's choice. and yet in possession of all honors in itself. This is called the way. Buddha says, the enlightened one, and yet in possession of all honors in itself, this is called the way, the Tao. The man of understanding is in a total let go. The man of understanding is in a total let go. He allows the law to function. If you want old religious language, non-Buddhist language, you can call it surrender to God. Then the devotee says, now I am no more. Only you are. I'm just a flute on your lips, a hollow bamboo. You sing the song. You sing. The song will be yours. I will be just a passage. This is old religious language. Buddha was never interested in the old language anyway. Not happy with the poet's language. He likes the scientific language more. Talks the same way as Albert Einstein or Newton or Edison. Talks about the law. Now it is for you to decide. The difference is only of language. But the basic thing is letting go, a total surrender. Those who, shaving their heads and faces, become shramanas, and who receive instructions in the way, should surrender all worldly possessions and be contented with whatever they obtain by begging. 1 meal a day, 1 lodging under a tree, and neither should be repeated. For what makes one stupid and irrational is attachments and the passions. So Buddha insisted for his sannyasins to shave their heads, their faces. These are just gestures. Don't take them literally. They are just gestures, indications that you are ready to surrender. They don't have any other meaning. The only meaning is that you are ready to go with Buddha. When you take sannyas, when you are initiated, you are simply saying yes. You are saying, yes, I am coming with you. Even if you say to do something mad, I'm ready to do it. It is just a surrendering gesture. He would say to his followers, they should live in insecurity. That's why he said, become beggars. Again, don't take it literally. Try to understand the spirit of it. He says you cannot possess anything. It is impossible to possess anything. Life is insecurity. And there is no way to become secure. Death is coming and will destroy all your securities. So don't be bothered. Even if you are a beggar, be happy. Be a beggar happily. There is no point in worrying too much about your security. Understand the insecurity of life, accept it, and in that very acceptance, you become secure. One meal a day, 1 lodging under a tree, and neither should be repeated. If you repeat a certain thing again and again, it becomes a habit, a mechanical habit. And when you become mechanical, you lose awareness. So don't repeat. Go on changing the situation. So in every situation, you have to be alert. Go on changing the town. Don't beg from the same door. Again, don't sleep under the same tree. You see the meaning, the message here? These are just devices so that you have to remain alert. Have you watched it? If and when you move into a new house, for a few days, you feel very uneasy. By and by, you become accustomed to the new house, and then you feel at home. It takes a little time, between 3 days and 3 weeks. A person begins to feel at home in the new home. You know, they start putting their energy around, hanging things and moving things. Then the house has become habit. Before that happens, this may sound strange to many people. Move. Not even under the same tree should you sleep twice. Otherwise, there is a tendency in the mind to claim it. Beggars also stake a claim. Beggar sits under a tree and begs. Then he will not allow any other beggars to sit there. He will say, go somewhere else. This is my tree. Beggars have their dominions. A beggar comes to beg in your neighborhood. You've seen people, right? You know, they don't call them beggars, but that's what they are. Homeless people on street corners with signs and whatever belongings they have with them. Beggars have their dominions. A beggar comes to beg in your neighborhood. He will not allow other beggars to go there. He will fight. This territory is his. You may not know it, but you belong to his territory. He will not allow other beggars to enter. Don't allow the mind to become lazy. Don't allow the mind to become mechanical. Remain alert, moving. Don't become stagnant. Go on moving, because one becomes stupid and irrational if attachment and possessions are allowed. If you become attached, you become stupid. You lose intelligence. The more secure you are, the more stupid you become. That's why it rarely happens that intelligent people come from rich families. That's why it rarely happens that intelligent people come from rich families. Very rarely. Because they are so secure, they have no challenges in life, so to speak. They have all that they need. Why bother? You cannot find many rich people whose money is inherited that are very sharp. They are almost always a little dull. They live in a sort of stupor, dragging, comfortably dragging, conveniently dragging in Rolls Royces, but dragging. Dull. Life seems to have no challenge because there is no insecurity. Become insecure, you can use it as a device. Become insecure so you become sharp. A beggar has to be very sharp and intelligent. He has nothing. He has to live moment to moment. That's why Buddha insisted for his sannyasins to become beggars. He called them kikas, means beggar. It was just a reversal. In India, sannyasins have always been known as swamis. Swami means a master. Exactly the word swami means Lord. Buddha changed the whole thing. He called his sannyasins bhikkhus, beggars. But he brought in a new dimension, a new meaning, a new challenge. He said, live moment to moment, having nothing. You will never be secure, and you will never be stupid. You see how things are designed to keep us complacent, to keep us away from the gods that we are within these bodies? When you ever live somewhere a long time, okay, so a lot of people do, and they really, that's just the way a lot of people are. So they set their shop up and they have their houses and they stay there year after year after year after year after year after year. Then they become complacent. Then they become secure. Then they become stupid. I mean, see for yourself if you haven't already. Have you watched? When you have money, you become lethargic. Have you ever experienced that? Now, I'm not saying money is bad at all, but with money, you should be progressive as well, moving, creating. When you have money, you become lethargic. When you don't have money, you become alert. If suddenly all is lost, you will become very alert. If you have to keep yourself alive by begging, you cannot be certain about the tomorrow. Nobody knows what is going to happen. Whether you will be able to get something or not. I've been there. You don't know. You don't know. All you know is the moment you're in. Whether you will be able to find somebody to give you something or not. You don't know. Tomorrow is not settled. Everything is uncertain. In uncertainty, in insecurity, your intelligence becomes more and more sharp. You become more brilliant. Now, this goes against, most of the teachings of our society. What do we tell children? You're going to go to school, right? You're going to go to college, if you can, right? You're going to get an education. You're going to get a good job. And you're going to make good money. And you're going to have a family. This is pretty much in America. Pretty much. It's deteriorated somewhat. There are 10 things considered good by all beings and 10 things evil. What are they? What the heck are they? 3 of them depend on the body, 4 upon the mouth, 3 upon thought. 3 of them depend upon the body, 4 upon the mouth, 3 upon thought. 3 evil deeds depending upon the body are killing, stealing, and committing adultery. That means fooling around with someone else's love. The 4, depending upon the mouth, are slandering, cursing, lying, and flattery. The 3, depending upon thought, are envy, anger, and infatuation. All these things are against the holy way. Therefore, they are evil. Look at the difference. They are against the holy way. If you do these 10 things, you will be miserable. You will be continuously in pain, anxiety, and anguish. It is difficult for a man or woman to be violent and not be miserable. If you kill someone, you will remain in misery. Before you kill, you will be in misery. When you kill, you will be in misery. And after you have killed, you will be in misery. Destructiveness cannot bring happiness. Destruction is against the law of creation. The law of creation is to be creative. If you are destructive, you will be miserable. If you are envious, infatuated, competitive, ambitious, jealous, possessive, you will be in misery. The only criterion to know what is wrong is that it makes you miserable. Now, this is a very different attitude. Not that the God within you says, don't do this, not that there are 10 commandments. There are 10 things to be avoided. But not that there is a despot, somebody dictating, somebody like Adolf Hitler or Joseph Stalin sitting there on a golden throne in the heavens and dictating. Do this and don't do that. There is nobody. There is for you. It is for you to decide. Only you. It's for you to decide. Whatsoever brings misery is wrong. Just as 2 plus 2 are not 5. Now, if and when you make 2 plus 2 5, nobody will say that you have committed anything. It is simply wrong. It's a mistake. Now, we've all known there is nothing like sin. Only mistakes, and even if they are mistakes, they're experiences, errors, right? There's no condemnation. You can correct the error. You can correct the mistake. It's simple. You can put 2 plus 2 is 4 the moment you understand. All these things are against the holy way, and therefore they are evil. There is no other reason for them to be evil, simply because they create misery for all of us. In fact, you create it by following them. If you don't care to be miserable, then avoid these things. When these evils are not done, there are 10 good deeds. And this is very significant. When these evils are not done, there are 10 good deeds. If you don't do these 10, you will be in harmony with the whole, with the law, and whatever happens will be good. Good is not that which one needs to do. Good is when you are not a doer, when you are in a let go with the whole, moving with the law, with the river. Good happens. Good is not an act. Now, there is no sin, only errors. And there is no virtue, only good deeds, happening when you have surrendered yourself. Avoid the bad deeds, the evil things. Avoid the wrong, and you will come in tune with the whole. You will become harmonious with the law. And then whatsoever happens is good. Good is like health. Don't be ill, then you're healthy. Just avoid illness, that's all. And you will be healthy. If you go to the doctor and you ask him what the definition of health is, he'll not be able to define it. He will say, I don't know. I can simply diagnose your illness. I can prescribe a medicine for the illness. when the illness has disappeared, you will be healthy. And then you can know what health is. Now, interestingly enough, Buddha's attitude, Buddha used to call himself a physician, a Vaidya, a doctor. He used to say of himself, I'm just a doctor, a physician. You come to me, I diagnose your disease, I prescribe medicine, and when diseases have disappeared, whatsoever is left, that presence is health. When these evils are not done, there are 10 good deeds. But what are they? What are they to be followed? So understand that the era is not committed so that you become harmonious with the whole. Harmony is happiness, and harmony is heaven. And harmony happens only when you are in tune with the whole. To be with the whole is to be holy. What is the whole? The God within you, in that body. That's the whole. That's the harmony. Now, if a man who has committed many a misdemeanor does not repent and cleanse his heart of the evil, retribution will come upon his person as soon and sure as the streams run into the ocean, which becomes even deeper and wider. If a man who has committed a misdemeanor comes to the knowledge of it, reforms himself and practices goodness, the force of retribution will gradually exhaust itself as a disease gradually loses its baneful influence when the patient perspires. When an evildoer, seeing you practice goodness, comes and maliciously insults you, you should patiently endure it and not feel angry with him, for the evildoer is insulting himself by trying to insult you. Once a man came, right? Somebody comes along and denounces you on account of you observing the way and practicing great loving kindness, right? But you keep silent and you do not answer him. The denunciation ceased. So then you ask him, if you bring a present to your neighbor and he accepts it not, does the present come back to you? And the man replies, it will, I said. You denounce me now, but as I accept it not, you must take the wrong deed back upon your own person. It is like an echo succeeding sound. It is like shadow following object. You never escape the effect of your own evil deeds. Be therefore mindful and cease from doing evil. I'll join you in the meditation and I'll return to close us out. Take an easy and slow breath in through the nose. Take an easy and slow breath out of the mouth. Be still. What area of your life do you most need to create something completely new? Often, people get hung up on avoiding the material world because they assume it is not spiritual. Yet, how will you feel when you follow through and complete that one task that you are avoiding doing? This is about being at peace with yourself and your life as it is. Do that one thing today that you've been avoiding doing. This will allow you to be a new person whose mind is calm, bright, and completely at ease. Don't wait. Do that one thing that will put your mind at ease right now. Take this with you for the rest of the day, into the evening and night, and the following morning. And we will return here Sunday, December 4th, 2022, 3 p.m. Eastern, to continue our global guided meditation call.